Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Welcome back. Welcome back. Can you hear me now? Can you give me a one if you can hear me? Do I have sound? Can you hear me? Okay, okay, thank you. I don't know why my camera, I've got some latency on my camera here. I'm trying to figure out why. But okay. I guess we're just gonna have to roll with it. So I spent 10 minutes, wasted 10 minutes trying to get this thing set up. So gonna have to move. Let's get going here. So I'm gonna read something from this. This is 2020 in the world to come. Subtitle, what is the meaning of life? Slow down the banner. Okay, let me see. You know what? I'm gonna get rid of that. Let me see. It's still slow. It's still slow, but you know what? We're gonna have to roll. We'll roll with it. Okay, so I'm reading something from 2020 in the world to come. All right. Title of this little chit chat is Relationships. Brother I know text me and just kind of, it's like, hey man, is it just me or is it relationships are tough? These, just they're under a strain, you know. So I wanted to read something I think is relevant to the times. This is from the section in this little booklet titled, let me look at the section again. Got so much stuff going through my head. This section is titled Ma'at, Thanos, and the Vulture. Okay. And I'm going to read a subsection titled Ma'at as a Relationship. Okay. It starts, one of the most difficult things to accomplish in this existence is to have positive relationships, especially between the opposite sexes. If you and a significant other can achieve this harmony, then you have accomplished a version of the great work. Furthermore, if you can manage to heal the divide within your consciousness between the masculine and feminine parts of your psyche, then it too is part of achieving the great work. All right, so that's um everything is under judgment. Yes, indeed. Judgment as in balance. Just reminded me of something. Yes, everything is under judgment. Everything is under judgment. Let me go and pull this out. So I have this on hand. Okay. So the first thing I want to, I guess, and I hope y'all can still hear me. The first thing that I really want to lean on is I mentioned if you and a significant other can achieve this harmony. I want to talk about the word harmony. Harmony would emerge from the word frequency. Frequency is just the amount of times something vibrates. Okay. So the sounds we hear, the colors we see are frequencies. That means that sound, as in wave patterns, are moving at different rates. Those different rates produce different notes or sounds and colors, just to name two very simple things. Okay. When something is in harmony from a musical standpoint, they don't have to be the exact same frequency. It's just that they maintain a harmonious or pleasant distance between each other. So two different frequencies, possibly, or three or four, but all of them maintain consistent and pleasant distance between each other, which creates what we call a harmony or a pleasant sound to the ear. When we say harmony as it relates to relationships, it does not mean butterflies and gumdrops, okay? If you listen to like a Thelonious Monk or Coltrane or Miles Davis, this is one thing that was telling me the other day. It was like, a lot of people back in the 60s said that what they were doing was just a bunch of noise. It was noise, meaning that the people didn't hear any harmony in it. But there were other people who there were like cult-like followings of those three gigantic jazz artists because they recognized the harmony that came through what seemed like chaos to other people. My father used to tell me stories about, and this is just a side note about jazz, that when he was a bachelor and he would have women come over his house, he said he would trip out because some women, all they wanted to hear was soul music. He would have some jazz playing and they'd be like, "What's that? I want some, you ain't got no James Brown, or something on those lines." And he would be tripped out, like how a lot of people in the 60s really wasn't digging jazz, which was probably the heyday of jazz was the 60s when you had some of the greatest musicians were in their zenith, their prime. So what I'm saying is harmony doesn't always appear the way we think it does as just this, floating on a cloud, everything is beautiful. It's not a John Denver song. This is what I would like to throw out for consideration. Harmony doesn't mean that the waters are always calm. It means that the boat stays afloat. Harmony doesn't mean that the waters are always calm. It means that the boat stays afloat. And that word afloat, I want us to look at that. In the front of that word, you have afl, A-F-L. And then the second part is oat, So what I did was I broke that word down. We talk about staying afloat. Broke that word down. Apple, and when you read this little booklet of mine, you'll see how I talk about something I mention often in these videos. I talk about bilabials. Okay. So bilabials are like the letters V, P, the combination of PH, F. Those are bilabials. Did I say B? That one too. So when you see apple, because F is a bilabial, you can substitute a P for the F. Okay. Hope y'all can still hear me. Somebody give me a 1 if you can still hear me, please. Just want to make sure. Apple, which is the root of afloat, can then become apple, as in fruit, apple. Okay. The back end of the word is oat. Oat means oath, as in a pledge. So keeping the boat afloat is, okay, good, thank you, is making a pledge to the apple. The apple is the fruit. The fruit contains the seeds, right? The seeds represent the fire. So we're talking about on a metaphysical level, fruit is fire. Okay. So it is a pledge to the fire. That's, if you look here in the back of the book, the back of the booklet, I took this, I got this little, let me show you this real quick. Because a pear is synonymous with the apple, okay? So I'll show this pear here in the back of the book, and you can see that the pear here resembles this flame. See what I'm saying? The fruit is the fire. It's the essence. Okay. So keeping the oath is what harmony is in a relationship. That's what it is. It don't mean that the waters stay calm. It means that the boat stays afloat. The oath is kept. The oath to the fire. All right. Now, I want to go to something else here. And here it says, naturally, the concepts of balance and relationship go hand in hand. Okay. So what I did here is I said, let's look at the etymologic variations of the latter, which means I'm referring to the word relationship. One root is relatus. Now check this out. Relatus, to carry. Whenever you say the word, peace, Taza, whenever you say the word carry, it references the root fare. Ferre. You know, it's like a ferry. A ferry boat carries people across water, right? But the word fare also coincides with the word bear. Because when a mother is carrying a child, she's also what? Bearing the child, which is why the boat is associated with the vessel. Okay. All right. The word relatus is the past participle of referere, Referre. And I know it might not be easy to retain this with me just reading, but this, you can get this and you just read it for yourself. Referere, again, to going back to bear. Now check this out. Then it derives from Middle English, baron, Old English, baron, akin to Old Frisian, bara, Old Norse, bara, Old High German, baron. Now listen to this. The latter, which is baron, coincides with gibaron or gibaron, which means to give birth. Now check this out. Gibaron, some of y'all probably already know where I'm going. If you know anything about Kabbalah, the fifth Sephirah on the tree of life, let me see if I can get this in focus. The fifth sephirah on the tree of life is right here. Okay. This sephirah is what? Geborah. Geborah, Gebaran, Gebara, Geborah. They're the same thing. And you notice that sphere right there says severity. The root of severity is sever, cut. That's why Mars, which is associated with the fifth sphere, Mars is associated, rules over. One of the things Mars rules over is knives, and a knife does what? It severs, it cuts. All right, stay with me. We're gonna keep going. Also in this family, we find the Sanskrit Brahma, again, I carry, which is comparable to the Greek pharaoh and Latin pharaoh, F-E-R-O. Okay. Also in the word Gevora, I want you to see something, because remember the B, like I said, the B is a bilabial. That means B is interchangeable again with F, P, PH, V. I think that I covered all of them. But look again at Gevora. And we said B is a bilabial, right? So you can put a V right there. That becomes give aura. Give aura, aura gold. Give your gold, give aura. Or, we're talking about your aura. Give your aura. Part of bearing the burden in a relationship is that you bear the burden or the responsibility of having to give your aura. And that word, all these symbols can emerge. You have to give aura, give birth. You have to give your aura, okay? You're having to sever, which means ultimately you're having to sever a part of yourself. A relationship is, in essence, a form of death. And that's why the vulture is a symbol for Ma'at. Vulture comes out when there's been death, okay? But the vulture comes out. Now I'm jumping out. This is one part where I was going to talk about, but it's this section of this little booklet talks about why the vulture is associated with Ma'at. It restores balance because it knows death is a vital part of the continuation of evolution. So it shows up when death has been apparent and it restarts the cycle of life. A relationship is supposed to be the whole thing in the Bible. 2 or 3 are gathered. There should, when those two coincide, a third thing can emerge, but it requires a subtle death between both sides for there to be perfection. The Great Pyramid of Egypt, good, evil, perfect, So that's another point. One thing I want to say too is that you often hear the peace legendary. One thing you often hear is, we hear the term, the phrase, do the work. And it is a necessity to do the work, but what is the work? Or what is an aspect of the work? What does it mean? How do I do the work? I feel like I'm so stuck into all these mundane activities, or I gotta pay these bills, I gotta work, when can I get to doing the real spiritual work? One thing that really was encouraging to me was the last time I went home. I went home to visit in the summer, and I had a chance to sit down and rap with my cousin, somebody that I hold a lot of respect for. And he was like, man, what you're doing with your family, that's the work. This was unsolicited. He just said, you're doing the work, man, having to deal with your little ones and trying to balance. And man, he said, that's the work. And I was like, man, I really needed to hear that because, if we are God having a human experience, and if we are being lived by powers we pretend to understand, then that means when we hear that we're co-creators in all of this, okay? We're co-creators with the astrological configurations, with the planets, with the energy. But what does that really mean? That means that just as much as we are striving to try to understand those energies which are primal and which are first or last causes, however you want to label them, what is it that they lack then? They lack consciousness. So just as what they have in spades is they got pure energy. Mars has pure Martian energy. Mercury has pure mercurial energy, and so forth. But they exist singularly and separate. So it is through us, we are the crucifixion. We are the death of those energies as separate, and we are the commingling of them in our humanity. So just as much as we're trying to figure those energies out, they're trying to figure out this aspect of existence through our mundane, if I should say, activities. That is a real upfront explanation of as above, so below. Just as much as we are striving to know that them is striving to know us. So the work then, from a relationship standpoint, I submit, is to continue paddling in your boat. To continue paddling in your boat, to keep it afloat, and to continue traveling. Here's the key. Here's one key. There is no a key. Here's a key. Lady Al said, what would the work look like? I'm about to give you one. On this little handout I made, it says hidden astrological etymology and symbology, right? Let's get this info. Okay. On the back side of this, I got a section on Aquarius. I broke down each sign and break down some symbolism that maybe we don't always hear about. Aquarius, the water bearer, the great abyss, the mirror of perfection, truth. The mirror is the vessel that bears, there's that word again, bear. Where did we hear that word bear? Givora, Gibera, bear. Listen to this. The mirror is the vessel that bears the image of the great mother. There are two mirrors, where the bliss reflected lie the Son of heaven and the Spirit Son most high. One mirror is the sea over which no storm wind blows. The other is the mind that no quiet knows. That's a quote. The mirror is a smile, Latin, mirus, to be smiled at. Related words, marvel, miracle, mirage. The mirror is also associated with the cup, vase, chalice, and vessel of salvation. Okay, so we all know that we're on the cusp of the Aquarian age. Some would say we're in it. One astrological book I got says they charted it at 1983 as the start. Either way, we are in the Aquarian waters. But we rarely hear the Aquarius being related to a mirror. A mirror, because the mirror what? Bears the image. A reflection. The reflection is very similar to what we call the shadow. Okay, now we're going somewhere. One aspect of doing the work is self-reflection, looking in the mirror. The first part of doing the work is seeing yourself. That is the hardest thing to do, is to see yourself. Because to fully see yourself, me included, requires you got to see your shadow. I just want to recommend this book. Robert A. Johnson, look how thin his books are. You can't read these books. The amount of pages you're supposed to be able to read this sitting on the toilet. You're not going to read this book like that. You got to keep going back and going over things and going, because it is revealing. Owning your own shadow, understanding the dark side of the psyche. Okay? We all have it. You can't run from it. You don't just complete it and then it's done. It is always there, because as long as the sun shines, there's a shadow. The greater that your sun shines, the bigger the shadow. This is an excellent practical book, practical guide about dealing with. Let me give you just an example. Give you an example. And I'm going to put it on a. He talks about, first of all, he's a Jungian psychologist, okay? And you got a lot of people, heavy people, that came under the umbrella of Carl G. Jung. You had James Hillman, Marie Louise von Franz, you had this guy, Robert A. Johnson, and many others. He said Marie Louise von Franz had a ritual with her housemate that she was living with in Switzerland, that whenever somebody had a very prosperous week, it was their job to take the trash out for the whole week, because they understood that the greater the sunshine that week, or at any time, the more involved the shadow would have to be, because everything in our existence is about balance. We live in a dualistic world. So there has to be, for every ebb, there has to be a flow. It just can't be beautiful all the time. But he was saying the conscious activity of taking the trash out was a way of addressing the subconscious mind, because it doesn't know what is real and what is so-called fake. So consciously taking the trash out was a way to honor the shadow that they knew had to be present, because there was prosperity. So just flip that. In a relationship, when you had those moments that seem like they're hallmark moments, it would be wise to not just relish in those beautiful moments, but to also acknowledge the shit that comes along with it, and to create some ritual that addresses cleaning up the shit, so that it doesn't come and smack you in the face, and then it's like you're on a roller coaster. Do you know, sometimes the more well, we'll cover that later. This is Lady Owl said, and how would you see your shadow? One way is by how people react to you. That's one way to see your shadow. And if you're in a relationship, how your mate reacts to you is one way to see your shadow. If we are mirrors, then sometimes the way people act is mirroring us. Something that we may not even be anything that you consciously do, but it can be something that is buried in you, because the shadow has to be tamed. That's part of childhood. Childhood is The rearing of childhood is to tame the shadow so that it doesn't overtake the human. Because if a child is not reared or disciplined, the shadow, the shadow will overtake the child, and that's how a lot of adults become undeveloped adults, because the shadow has ruled their lives the whole time. So if you have learned how to basically how to behave, which a lot of adults don't even know how to behave, but if you just know how to behave, then that means you've had to suppress an aspect of your shadow. I remember one time, well, I ain't even gonna say that. Well, there'd be times when I was training people. I'm just gonna be completely honest. There were some people I disliked so much for training them. It was like I felt like I had to take the money because I got this facility open. I gotta pay rent. But there'd be times. There was this one guy I was training, and he's the only dude in the gym, and the rest are like a bunch of women. And he does a set of curls, and he thinks they're so hard that he falls down into the floor and balls up in the fetal position. And I felt an overwhelming urge to want to go over there and kick him. I wanted to, and it's not like it was just, it felt like something was trying to overtake me. I said, I want to go and kick this motherfucker in the head. You lying down in the, to me, that's an aspect of, I had to suppress my shadow, which is just pure rage. He didn't deserve this. I mean, he didn't deserve to be kicked in the head. But that shadow is there. The rage is always there. That button, working out is one way of trying to address the shadow. It's a way to, and this Martian energy to just want to just a very aggressive, and that's one way to channel it. You know what I'm saying? But it's I'm all about simple. One way to know to see your shadow too is be honest with yourself. Once you get to a certain age, you gotta know you fucked up. You gotta know what's fucked up about you. I know I do. I'm a selfish motherfucker. My south node and my birth chart is in Aries, where Mars is at right now. It's in Aries, and my north node, of course, is across the chart in Libra. Libra is about sharing. It's about finding back. Libra is judgment. The Libra scales, balance, weighing. So it's not about me becoming a complete pushover and just, oh, whatever, anything's okay, whatever makes you. No, it's the key is always finding the midpoint between two polarities, or what Robert A. Johnson calls the fulcrum. The midpoint. That's a battle till you close your eyes in this incarnation. Okay, what else did I want to say? Planets right now that are very active are Mars, which we said Mars is associated with Gevora. Another planet that is active is Jupiter, which Jupiter coincides with Mercy Hesed. Right now, Jupiter is in Capricorn, and it is squaring, move my finger the right way, it is squaring Mars in Aries. So you can see it's only, they are right across each other on the tree. So they oppose each other. So that means they are mirrors, okay, of sorts. Okay. We also have Pluto in the mix, and we see Pluto sits at the crown. Okay. We have Binah in the mix. Binah is third Sephira. It's Capricorn. No, Saturn. I'm sorry, Saturn. So you see, we got these in play. So what does that all mean in layman terms? That means communication can be difficult, especially right now. And that's for the brother. Straight Panther said, I just let my shadow out for a walk 25 minutes ago. I hope that motherfucker didn't get out of control, man. Um, um, uh, communication is under pressure right now. Impatience is a lot higher. You can see it. I always refer to traffic. You always can, if nothing proves that astrology is real, traffic does. How people drive on the roads, whether residential or the highways, it always it will prove that astrology is real. So simple thing here. One, first and foremost, got to have a discipline. When we see in the Bible, when we talk about disciples, the word disciple means hand. Discipline means hand. It means management. What can you put your hands on and maneuver and control? Anytime you have an M-A-N in the word, it means your hands. Discipline and man are same thing, referring to the hands. Okay? So I'm going to give you some simple things from a relationship standpoint. Okay? And these are also things that help to control your shadow, because our egos can really feed our shadows. Okay. It's hard to swallow our pride a lot of times, but as best you can, swallow that motherfucker. Okay. That's one. I know that seems super mundane. I seem super mundane, but sometimes, look, I don't care how much shit you know, how motherfucking involved you think you done got. Look, the ego's always there, always present, you know, and the more we know, the more it can get fed, you know, to be honest. Swallow your pride. Don't be no punk. Don't be no pushover, but pick your battles, you know. Two, I done said this before in videos like a couple years ago, and I know, you know, it's, hey, this nigga, mundane shit. Listen, make up your motherfucking bed. That's right. Look, this is a Jungian psychologist. Now I have, you know, some scholastic backing from some of the things I say, to just common sense. Make your bed up, because your subconscious mind don't know the difference between a mundane routine and some big, gigantic, extravagant ritual. Making your bed up is a ritual. All ritual means is arrangement. Yesterday we was in a hurry, and I got to get off here. Yesterday was in a hurry, and we ended up running, and basically some kind of way the bed didn't get made up. My wife was cooking and washing dishes last night. The kids was in the tub. I said, I gotta make this bed up real quick. Even though we about to go to bed, gotta make it up. You know why? Because that reset the clock. That's shadow work. The trash where we live runs on Monday and Thursday. That's shadow work, taking it out. Because we're talking about subtle energies. So subtle shit affects, manipulates subtle energy. It's one way to reset. If you had a fucked up day, it's even more important. You got to make your bed up, you know? 3, clean and straighten up your house. I mean, I get a little junky. My office is a little junky right now, and I'll come and I'll, you know, but it ain't, you know what I'm saying? One day, me and my wife got into it, and I wasn't even consciously thinking this. While she was at work, I cleaned up the garage. You know, we had bought this stand-up freezer, and we hadn't made room for it up against the wall, and it was sitting in the middle of the floor, and we hadn't had a chance to clear out space. I had my wild children with me. I let them run around and play. I was like, today I got to fix this. And you know, it reset the whole energy, because the argument was started with me, you know, just in a fucked up mood. I'm a motherfucker to live with. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I know this shit's real. That was shadow work for me. I had to throw away some of the shit. It's a constant. Remember, I said it ain't about the waters remaining harmonious. It's about the boat staying afloat. All this shit right now, listen to me. Whether you single in a relationship or whatever else, all the shit right now is subconsciously telling you that relationships ain't shit. You got all these motherfuckers who gossip online. You got all these motherfuckers who got relationship advice. How many of them actually got a real relationship? Everybody telling you how you ought to deal with a woman, how you ought to deal with a man. Hell, we done came up on Oprah giving that relationship advice. This motherfucker ain't never showed us no evidence of no real relationship. Think about it. You walk around wearing a mask, so even relating to the person you see in the grocery store has become a curse. That's the science. And it subconsciously puts a strain on every aspect of relating between humans that you can think of. That's what Arlene calls low magic. That's trickery. So we have to use practical tools, your everyday life. That's what consciousness is. It's being conscious of the magnificent, even in the mundane. Number 4, schedule time for sex. Sacre bleu. Did that nigga say that? That's right. That's right. Because we're still talking about energy. Working out is a way of channeling and moving energy, and damn sure sex is. And if you go to the website and get that what you call them, the manifestation, you know, look on the page that says master students. Get that 1111 and enhance yourself and your household. Number 5, I already alluded to it. Exercising. Move the energy. Move the energy. Number 6, and this ultra mundane, but it's one of the hardest things to do for some of us. Make a special effort to listen better. And listening is not just with your ears, you listen with your eyes. Listening is when you are out and about driving and you paying attention to your entire environment. Pay attention to the billboards, pay attention to the license plate in front of you, pay attention to everything, because you are the infinite having a finite experience, right? So that means the infinite can speak to you in infinite ways. Listen. Listen to the person that you with. Listen. Don't be so eager to got to get your point out. Whether you're a man or a woman, we are very masculine in our activities now. You know, masculine as in masculine is extroverted. It wants to go out, as in I got to say my point. I got to be heard. The feminine aspect is inward, okay, which is what listening is. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, went to Mount Hera to receive the Quran. Of course, we know that's an allegory. Hera is an anagram for hear. Cave, inner ear, hearing. And I'm not saying none of this from no position of some expert. But I'm also not saying it from a theoretical standpoint. I'm telling you real life shit. Because if you fool yourself and think that everything's beautiful, beautiful, and any motherfucker try to present that, they full of shit. Full of shit. Full of motherfucking shit. Especially now. Especially now. You come through this with a lasting relationship, your shit's, if you come through this with a relationship, it's a good chance your shit gonna be stronger if you're doing the work. No matter how mundane this shit sounds, it's the work. It's the work. We are lived by powers we pretend to understand. Yeah, Straight Panther. That's by Robert A. Johnson. It's owning your own. Get all of Robert A. Johnson's books. They all little thin books like this. He got he, she, we. Man, I got another one coming tomorrow. It's another one about your shadow. Um, that's all I got. I gotta go. We gotta go and pick our children up. Uh, but this right here, I'm reading from my booklet, 2020 in the World to Come. I'm just trying to give you an example of, it's a lot of information and it might just seem like just mental masturbation. It's not. It's the information is in here to have it all in one area, what I'm trying to say. But these little gatherings, what I'm trying to expound on and show you that the shit is like, it's living. It's not dead knowledge. It is living, applicable knowledge. You understand what I'm saying? So we got some classes getting ready to start up. I'm calling modules. I kind of don't even know if I'm gonna like the term classes. They're modules. And it's gonna be, I'm about to start 5 of them based on this. If you're interested, they start on the 14th of November. You can just send me an email, info@mastersofthecosmos.com. And let me know that you're interested. I'll add you to my email list and keep you updated on Young E. What's happening, G? It's my email is info@masters of the cosmos.com. Did I spell it right? info@mastersofthecosmos.com. Yeah. You shoot an email, or you can go on the website, which is, mastersofthecosmos.com, and you can fill out the the little contact form, and just masters of the cosmos.com. Yeah. And I'll add you to the list. But there was ever a time that, let me say this, and I'm gonna conclude. Don't feel like you're lesser than because you have these very human feelings right now. Look, people have expressed that they feel stagnant in their spiritual growth. People have expressed tumultuous relationship stuff. Don't feel like something's wrong with you. Instead, see these as opportunities. Okay. The opportunities to grow, and I'm not trying to sound like Les Brown or nothing, but I mean, ultimately, that's what it is. It's what, when you pull your birth chart, there are opportunities for growth. They show you opportunities for evolution. They show you your natural strengths, and then you can determine your and maybe natural weaknesses, and you determine a game plan, you, on how you're going to address them and keep moving towards your ultimate evolution. All right, that's all I got. I got to go. Brother Jamal, mastersofthecosmos.com. As always, stay down till you get up. When you get up, stay down. Peace.